10-game road trip could not have gone much better, posting a 7-3 record led by their starting rotation's 2.37 ERA. Tonight, the Rays return home to the Trop to face the Angels' dynamic duo of Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. We welcome you to Tropicana Field. It is good to be home. The Rays tonight, following a very successful 7-3 road trip, home to open an 8-game stand, the first team in, the Los Angeles Angels. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Well, the Angels and the Rays running a game and a half behind New York in the American League East. And with Los Angeles here, that means the Rays will face the dynamic duo in their lineup of Mike Trout and Albert Pujols.
These guys right now are the driving force to the Angel offense, as you're going to see with their numbers. Albert Pujols right now with 15 home runs. That's good enough for 5th in the American League. His teammate Mike Trout has done one better, 16 homers. That's tied for 3rd in the American League. And you can see the damage there with the runs batted in. Now, the Rays were able to take 2 of 3 from the Angels in Anaheim last week. But in that series, these two combined for 5 home runs and 9 driven in. You can make it a whole lot easier on yourself if you can find a way to control them. But that's easier said than done. Nathan Carnes is going to take the start here tonight for the Rays. And since the end of April, Nathan has been outstanding. And since that time at home, he's been even better. As you can see, a 2-1 record, a 2.38 earned run average. And for Nathan Carnes, and most pitchers for that matter, it's all about fastball command. And so if you see him early, able to move that ball in and out on these hitters, that's when you can let the curveball go to work, and a good outing will follow.
There's Nathan Carnes getting ready in the right field bullpen, coming off a no decision against this same Angels team out in Anaheim when he pitched 5 innings, giving up 4 earned runs. Walked 3 in that one, and he looks to gain his 4th victory of the year here tonight. Well, the Rays will be home a lot over the next 3 weeks, plus 18 of their next 23 will be right here at Tropicana Field. But before we get into the business at hand, we'll recap that successful road trip. Todd Callis will take care of that when we return.
homestand, followed by a quick 5-game road trip and then 10 more at home. 18 of the next 23 inside the comforts of Tropicana Field. But the Rays have been a very solid road team this season. In fact, they're coming off a very impressive trip. Going to Baltimore, losing the first game, but then winning 7 of the last 9, including those next 2 in Baltimore. As you look at our Toyota trend, you'll see that the Rays only averaged 3.5 runs a game. The offense only hit 212, but there were 12 home runs in those 10 games, over a home run per game, and the team ERA, a stealth-like 2.33. Here's the manager, Kevin Cash, reflecting on the success in Baltimore, Anaheim, and Seattle.
I thought it was a great trip. We played really good baseball. We started 2 of those series losing the first game. To bounce back, it just keeps, speaking volumes about the guys in the clubhouse. Played solid baseball, got great pitching, some big hits. The one game that I keep thinking about, I think we all do, is the Anaheim getaway day. That was just a tremendous come-from-behind win. And then, took some energy into Seattle and played a lot of tight ball games. Didn't get, runs were tough to come by, but got enough and got great pitching.
That Anaheim getaway day was Nathan Karns on the mound, and Karns kicks off this series and the homestand back on the mound for Tampa Bay. First pitch coming your way in 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Enjoy all the action with Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson right around the corner on Sunsport.
Tonight we are under the big top that is the Trop. The Rays are back home. Nathan Karns marches to the mound to meet the Los Angeles Angels in the opening game of this series. We'll take a quick look at the lineup he will face, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Eric Ibar is going to lead it off, followed by Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. Cole Calhoun hits cleanup in front of David Freese, who also swinging a pretty good bat lately. Matt Joyce in there is the DH. Carlos Perez will catch. Hitting in the 8th spot, Neuenhuis. Gio Batella will be at second, and he will hit 9th.
Now Nathan Carnes making his 12th start of the season, 3-2, 3.63 earned run average, and he has really gotten things together here at home. We highlighted that in the open, but season started off a little rough for Nathan here at Tropicana Field. He's gotten that under control, and really over the last month and a half has thrown the ball very well for the Rays.
Rays start the night 31-27. They won 5 of their last 6, a game and a half out of first in the East. First pitch of this game presented by Pinch-A-Penny, and that's a strike call. Ibar shortening on the bat. Took a good look at that one for a strike. Down a bit, and it's 1-1. Angels come in on a 5-game spin, dropping a game under 500 at 28-29. That's going to be foul glove by Nick Franklin, who's down at first tonight.
Another different look to that Rays infield, Rays defense. That's why you wonder, Eric Ibar, no Evan Longoria down at third base. Maybe he's thinking of laying one down and testing Jake Elmore.
It's been another positive feature of this club with Evan out nursing that wrist. He thinks he'll be able to play tomorrow. We'll see. And there's a ground ball up the middle on a 1-2 pitch.
Well, let's take a look at that Tampa Bay Ray defense and look how it's going to line up tonight. Behind Nathan Carnes in the outfield, left to right, we've got David DeJesus, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Jake Elmore, as Asdrubal Cabrera, Logan Forsythe, and Nick Franklin, with Rene Rivera behind the plate. The Rays have shown that willingness to mess around on the corners with the injury to James Loney and Evan Longoria the last few games, but do not want to mess around up the middle with Cabrera and Forsythe.
There's Mike Trout. He takes the pitch too high. Yeah, you're right about that. The Rays did run Forsythe over to first base a time or two, but would prefer to leave him at second. And Cabrera's been so steady. He's been the pro at shortstop for the Rays. 2-0, breaking ball that stayed in.
They have really combined to solidify that, infield defense. Something that was a question mark coming into the season. Who was going to end up where, and what were the platoons and combinations going to look like?
It's the funny thing about this game, because the Rays really anticipated a completely different look around the middle. Slowly hit. Cabrera will take it to first. Ibar moves into second. And Trout is out at first. The ball not hit sharply enough to give the Rays an opportunity to get two, and Cabrera takes the out at first. The original idea was for that double play combination to be different than it is. How about that from the Phantom Cam? A great shot.
You could see Trout trying to get his hands close to the body to get to the barrel of the bat to the baseball, and not successful, and that wiggle in the bat. Fortunately, that thing didn't break.
There's Albert Pujols. And the first pitch is a strike. Pujols, since the 28th of May, has hit 7 of his total 15 home runs. Ibar reached on the base hit. He's now at second. It's 1-1. Well, Pujols carries these credentials into town. He's 17th on the all-time home run list. He's chasing Mickey Mantle right now. 3-time National League MVP, Gold Glove over there twice, a 9-time All-Star.
Balanced and powerful at the plate.
Ooh, pretty close pitch right there. Fastball. 2-1. Against the Rays, 3 home runs coming out of that series in Anaheim.
And he I mean, he victimized just about every pitch you could flip up there to him. Sliders, fastballs.
Sharply hit to third, and Elmore takes care of that. Low throw, and it's dug out by Franklin. Well, that extra time that Tom Foley spent with Franklin over there works out. And watch the scoop.
Well, and you know, here's what happens. It was a great job by Nick Franklin on the scoop, but with Jake Elmore, the issue was too much time. You know, infielders like to field the ball and throw in rhythm. And it's almost like a three-point shooter that wants to catch the ball and shoot in rhythm. Jake Elmore kind of fielded that ground ball, took his time, then started up, and was never able to get anything much on the throw.
So Ibar is still at second, 2 gone, and here's Cole Calhoun. And the pitch is up a bit. Franklin made that scoop at first, and once it was secure, he turns toward the dugout. That's to Tom Foley for the work they did on the last road trip around first base. Acknowledging Tom Foley of the Rays staff. 2-0 the count. Foley worked hard, long time with him in Anaheim around first base, including, we talked about it, went out to second base with a bat and actually hit one-hop ground balls to him while he was trying to scoop the balls that Foley hit. Now Calhoun takes a strike, and the count is 2-1. Top of the first, just underway. Now 3 balls and a strike. Barnes making his 12th start of the year. He's behind Calhoun. And it's foul back. Now the count full. So it comes down to a 3-2 count with 2 outs, trying to get out of the first and not give up a run. It's David Freese on deck.
And it's got to be quality. This is the one guy. The Angels as a team have really struggled with runners in scoring position. Cole Calhoun, however, hitting .359 in these situations.
Yeah, he's 10th in the league in that department. The 2 guys hitting with men in scoring position, Trout and Calhoun on this team. And a line shot, base hit into right center field will get the run home. Extra bases here. Kiermaier slides to try to make the stop. It's a double for Calhoun, and it's 1-0 Los Angeles.
Well, you know, you're kind of boxed in a full count. You got to make a quality pitch, but you don't have a lot of margin for error. And this is a fastball that has some elevation to it on the outer half, and that allows Calhoun to get fully extended and to drive that ball into the gap.
So Calhoun with his 9th double drives in the run. Now he's in scoring position. Freese, nice backhanded stop by Cabrera. Franklin cannot come up with the throw, however. Boy, almost a great play. Was a great stop by Cabrera. The Rays just couldn't finish it off. Calhoun goes to third, and Freese is aboard. What an effort, and what a play by Cabrera.
Well, these Rays infielders know a lot of times just get it close over there at first, but you've got Nick Franklin, not a lot of reps right there. That ball looked like it didn't even, he could have caught almost on the fly as he's reaching out there, and not able to come up with that one. That hurts.
Well, the inning will continue. First and third. And Freese gets a hit on that. That's going to extend his hitting streak to 12. And now Matt Joyce.
Boy, and it looked too like Nick Franklin was almost caught in between. You see those guys, sometimes they let that ball bounce and play it back, or can I reach out there and get it? And it was just in between.
Two balls, no strikes. Well, one of the big parts of this Rays success story has been the ability to catch and throw the baseball successfully.
You know, and sometimes the way that this defense picks up a pitching staff, sometimes as a pitcher you need to pick up the defense. You retire the hitter here, all you've cost yourself is a couple extra pitches.
Barnes behind Matt Joyce, 3-0. Elmore, the lone man on the left side of the infield. And he walks. That loads the bases. And Jim Hickey's going to make a quick trip to the mound.
And that's because of the 4-pitch walk after the air. You wonder what the mindset right now of Nathan Carnes is, and Jim Hickey out there to encourage him to get out of this inning, because at the end of the day, the last two plays, the walk and the hit by Freese, no harm, no foul if you get this hitter out here. Retire Perez, and they've got one run. They had that anyway.
So the bases are going to be loaded for the young catcher, Carlos Perez. And Perez has given the Angels a little lift behind the plate. He's only been in 15 games, but since he has joined this team in the first week of May, he's done a nice job behind the plate and has done more than hold his own in the batter's box. He's hitting .283 with a couple of home runs. And the first pitch is a breaking ball, strike call. Hot shot to third. Elmore can't find the handle, and everybody's safe. And the Rays struggling here on the corners in the first inning. And another run is home. It's 2-0.
I'll tell you, that ball from Perez was smoked, but Jake Elmore put himself in great position to make this play and end the inning, but he could not find the baseball. The one-hop smash out of the glove. Okay, you've controlled it, but then as he reaches down to grab it, his head is looking towards first base, and he never sees the baseball. Picks up dirt.
So another run is home. The bases remain loaded, and here's Kirk Neuenhuis. And the pitch is a strike call. Into left. This is DeJesus in line to make the catch. 8 men come to the plate. They leave the bases loaded. Score 2. Rays coming in to hit. Lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Kevin Kiermaier is going to lead it off, followed by Joey Butler. David DeJesus is in the third spot in left. Forsythe, Susie Jr., and Cabrera down the middle. Elmore hits 7th, Franklin 8th, and Rene Rivera, the catcher, out of the 9th position.
You know, some interesting good news, bad news on Matt Shoemaker. As you look at his season numbers, that ERA over 5, he is coming off of back-to-back starts where he probably the best 2 starts for him this season. However, he hasn't pitched in 1 or 2 complete turns of the rotation. His last start came on May 31st, so you wonder how sharp will he be.
Well, we're going to find out. Here's Kevin Kiermaier. He goes after the first pitch and skies it to left. And it's caught out there by Neuenhuis. 1 pitch, 1 out. Well, here's Joey Butler, who just continues to swing a hot bat for the Rays. GMC big matchup. Last 9 games, he's hitting .400. It's 14 out of 35.
Well, every mistake, he's hitting hard. He's using the whole field. A lot of hits up the middle the other way.
Takes a look at the first pitch. Fastball around 90. One and one.
And boy, does he stay ready to hit. I mean, he takes a pitch and he's right back ready to go.
And he's better with this guy because he'll get the ball and throw it. And he's usually around the plate.
Yeah, I mean, total finesse righty. Not going to blow you away with stuff. Needs to rely on good game planning and better execution for success.
Big cut right there at a fastball.
I think Joey Butler and the rest of us are saying, how did you miss that? That was a pitch that you would love, if you're Joey Butler or any hitter for that matter, to see again.
Chopper third, that'll stay fair, and the throw to first, nicely done by Freese on the pickup and the throw across to Pujols.
Well, let's take a look at that Angel defense and see how it's going to line up tonight. In the outfield left to right, we have Kurt Neuenhuis, Mike Trout, and Cole Calhoun. Across the infield, third to first, David Freese, Eric Ibar, Johnny Giavotella, and Albert Pujols, with Carlos Perez behind the dish.
David DeJesus gets another start, and it's third in the lineup for Kevin Cash. He's hitting .313 on the year, the veteran outfielder. One and one. Shoemaker out of Eastern Michigan, 28 years old. He was the runner-up in the American League Rookie of the Year balloting last year. Jose Abreu winning it. And Shoemaker, who won 16 games last year, finished second. 2-2. He was 16-4. in 20 starts, 27 overall appearances. Not a lot of at-bats against him in the Rays lineup. DeJesus 1 out of 3 against him. Rays saw him twice last year and he won both decisions. Take the count all the way to 3-2.
And that probably was the leading factor on where to fit Matt Shoemaker back into this rotation. That success, good numbers against a team, high confidence level, put him in.
And a cut and a miss. He has DeJesus swinging over that off-speed split. 1-2-3, go the Rays. 2-0 Angels. Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Morgan Auto Group. By H.H. Gregg. And by Kona Brewing Company. One life, right? Don't blow it. Mahalo. Rays and the Angels move into the second inning. 2 runs for Los Angeles. 1 earned run in the first. Johnny Villavitella will lead it off. Villavitella out of that 9th spot. And you so often hear about that number 9 hitter being a second leadoff hitter, and that's what he is right now. And when you look at his numbers, 277 average. His on base is 333. So he's leading off. That's exactly what he's doing here.
And as we saw last week, a pesky hitter. Use the whole field, shoot the ball the other way. You can't stay on one side of the plate against him.
And so far, he has been very good for the Angels in key situations. He doesn't shrink from an opportunity late in the game to get a hit, drive in a run. We saw him hit a home run. In fact, he homered off Carnes in Los Angeles and drives this one into center. Nice running catch by Kiermaier. Got a good jump and ran right to that line drive.
Well, you feel so comfortable having Kevin Kiermaier in the outfield, specifically center field, because of the ground that he can cover. And this ball off the bat of Villavitella looked promising, but they had him set up right on the right side of second base and then let his speed do the rest.
1 away. Back around to the top of the lineup, Eric Ibar. One strike to count. Chopped to second. Forsythe is right there. So a couple of quick outs in the second inning. On Wednesday, when Carnes pitched against the Angels in Los Angeles, he gave up a first inning solo home run to Mike Trout. Pujols drove in a run with a base hit in the third, and Villavitella hit the home run in the 4th inning off him, a 2-run homer to account for the 4 runs he gave up. Here's Mike Trout. And an opening curveball is in there for a strike.
That may have been the turning point of the trip for the Rays. I mean, off to an even up start at that point. Or maybe even a game up, 3-2. And they were down 4-0. Hector Santiago was pitching for the Angels and was cruising. 5 shutout, a 4-run lead, and it all came apart for him in the top of the 6th.
A ball, 2 strikes, and the Rays wound up winning that game in 10 innings, 6-5. And then from there, they didn't score a lot of runs in Seattle, but enough to take 3 out of 4. That was pretty amazing. The Rays finishing off the road trip by winning 3 out of 4 from the Mariners. They won 2-1, 1-0, lost 2-1, and then won a game 3-1. Trout, high fly ball to right. Souza Jr.'s got it. 1-2-3, go the Angels. Bottom of the 2nd, coming up. 2-0 Angels.
Score of 2-0. Today is day 2 of the 3-day Major League Baseball draft, and joining us right now is R.J. Harrison, director of scouting for the Rays. In the midst of this craziness, R.J., yesterday when you woke up heading into the ballpark, if they would have told you you would end up with Garrett Whitley and Chris Betts, what would your reaction have been?
Well, I wouldn't have thought it possible, but it's I mean, you couldn't draw it up any better. We're really excited about those 2 guys, and we certainly didn't think that they would both be there for us.
Tell us about your outfielder first from the Albany area, Garrett Whitley.
Well, he's a big, strong, athletic, explosive, intelligent young guy that we've gotten a chance to really get to know well. In fact, we were up there in April. Eric Neander and Tim Alexander, our area guy up there, myself, and we went over to the house, and I actually helped. I hung a curtain rod for Mom couldn't reach us, so she said, "Hey, you can do this job." But we've got a good relationship. We felt really good about the pick, and we think this kid has a chance to be really special.
So director of scouting involves everything, including home improvements at times. When you scout a kid who's from the Northeast, and we see it here with a Mike Trout, we saw it with a Rocco Baldelli, as he goes through, here's a line drive off the bat of Logan Forsythe, and Trout makes the play, moving to his left. As they go through and you see them in the showcase events, is that where you really have to pay attention because they do have a limited schedule?
Yeah, it's really important for us. And in particular, those kids up in the Northeast now, that program up there that our guy Tim is involved with a bunch of the other scouts up there, they put that club together. They play a lot of games before the East Coast showcase, and then they take that group of kids right from the East Coast Showcase out to Long Beach for the area code game. So you get a chance to really see how these guys hold up to playing every day against good competition and traveling across the country.
Your next pick in round 2 is a guy from the Long Beach area. You're very familiar with that area and his school, Wilson High School. Tell us about the catcher, Chris Betts.
Chris Betts, he's from my hometown, Long Beach. He's from the same high school league I played in. He's a left-handed hitting bat and power guy, strong arm, really good baseball mentality. Everybody you talk to, I got messages from old friends in Long Beach last night telling me this is a great kid. You're going to be really happy to have this kid. We knew that going in, but it's really nice to hear those kind of things as well.
And a young catcher who's dealt with some injuries. Is that probably one of the reasons you may have been able to get him where you did?
Well, it might have been, because he didn't catch the last probably 5 weeks of the season. He had a little forearm strain, and our medical people have gone through everything. They don't think there's any issues. It's just a matter of the rehab, and he should be, I would think he'll be back catching or a month into the season, because we're going to be cautious with him, but it shouldn't be much of a setback at all.
Steven Souza caught looking for the second out on a strikeout. RJ, today it ended up being an all-collegiate draft for you guys. Rounds 3 through 10, all college players, the first 3 ACC guys. Was that just by happenstance, or were you kind of targeting college guys?
No, I think it was more by happenstance. It's just that's the way the draft lined up today, and that was the best option to each one of our picks.
We're seeing Brandon Lau, the second baseman out of Maryland. Brandon Coach, the pitcher out of Dallas Baptist. And then you stayed in the ACC with a kid out of Virginia and also North Carolina. The ACC tournament must have been a pretty good breeding ground for you guys.
Well, it was good. We had people in there. I stopped by for one day, and I just actually went back and saw University of Maryland play at the UCLA Regional before I came in here for the meetings.
And then Dallas Baptist is a program that's really becoming on the map for a lot of scouts, right?
Really good program. They've done a good job there. They had 3 relievers on that club. I think were all drafted today. That good arms, and it's a good program.
The manager of the Rays, Florida State, turned into a catcher. You guys get a catcher out of Florida State, Della Calle, in the 9th round.
Yes, he's a guy that we've seen for quite a while. He's a senior catcher that's been their regular guy there. He's got good defensive skills, and he's got some power.
Tell us about tomorrow, rounds 11 through 40. That's pretty much, you got to be ready to go because the picks come fast and furious, right?
Yeah, they do. It's kind of rapid fire, but we're ready for it. We'll get the guys lined up. We have some guys we're still very excited about on the board, so hopefully we'll be able to get some of them.
RJ, we thank you for your time. I know it's the busiest time of the year for you, and we appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
All right, guys, a ground ball to second base as Asdrubal Cabrera grounds out to end the inning. 1-2-3 inning for Matt Shoemaker. We are 2-0 Angels at the end of 2.
to Fox with an AL East showdown as the Yankees square off against the Orioles. Coverage begins Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox. We go to the third. Albert Pujols will lead off for the Angels. A little part of the order. Then Calhoun, the cleanup man, followed by David Freese. And a shot down the left field line, but it's hooked foul. He just drove that ball out on a line, but foul.
Boy, we saw the impressive bat speed. Wasn't like that at the beginning of the season, but had a front row seat for the damage that he did and how quick he was getting that bat through the zone.
And another shot up the left field line for extra bases. Pujols making the turn, headed for second, and he's in there standing.
90 miles an hour, and he almost pulled it foul. That's what we're talking about with that bat speed, and he is just cutting it loose. Pitch meant to be away, it's up middle, and he just gets on top of it and hammers it right down the line.
Well, we saw him hit that, remember in the Wednesday game against the Angels in Anaheim. He drove a ball through the hole on the left side for that RBI single that was 105.7 miles per hour.
A one-hop ground ball.
Yeah. 105.7.
We've seen a number, actually quite a few home runs that don't approach those numbers.
Here's Calhoun. That's a foul ball. And Alfredo Griffin, a nice pickup. He can still pick him down there, this time outside the coaching box. He did grab the lower back, though, for a moment. One strike to count on Calhoun. Two. Yeah, the Angels have a couple pretty good infielders on the coaching lines. Alfredo Griffin at first and Gary DiSarcina down at third, coaching for Mike Scioscia. Can't get it by the first base coach. Griffin makes another pickup. Distributing souvenir baseballs.
Hey, who needs a glove?
It was almost as if he didn't need one when he played. Two-strike pitch again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, how about this draft day? I mean, that has to bring back memories for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite the surreal day because you know what is about to happen. You're not sure with who, and then that, that journey begins at that point. And so it was, it was an interesting day. Not done like it was yesterday, where you've got a little prime time and some TV coverage, but exciting nonetheless. And, I can't believe how long it's been. I mean, we're talking over half my life now, which is strange.
How about that?
Yeah.
And baseball's getting to a point where they're doing a lot more with that than they did when you were drafted. Mm-hmm. It didn't get that part of the game got very little recognition at all. That's a pretty significant occurrence in any sport when you've got a whole new class of talent coming in to the game. There's a pretty good class right there in '93 that entered the game.
Well, and that was the thing. Coming in, everybody at the time the draft got there knew that Alex Rodriguez was going to be your #1 pick. But yeah, Chris Carpenter, Torrey Hunter, we've seen he's still getting it done.
And a really good-looking guy there.
Yeah, the bat
clean-shaven lefty. Oh, there's a strike 3 call. Calhoun on a 3-2 curveball. And Carnes picks up his first strikeout. I'm just going to tell you right now, of those 4 guys, when you look at that draft list, you got to pick the left-handed pitcher there on the left side of your screen. When you go 1, 2, 3, 4 left to right, that's a good-looking prospect.
Well, yeah, except he's the one that's not playing anymore, and I think the rest are.
Look at that, trustworthy young man.
You know, here's what the funny thing was: is the second pick of the draft that year was Darren Dreifert, and he was out of Wichita State, did everything for them. Amazing pitcher, 25, 30 home runs that year as a hitter, and you knew he was going to go second. And him and I were roommates on Team USA in 1992, and as the draft's rolling around and we're staying in contact, we're like, okay, who's this high school kid from Miami that's going to go number 1? I mean, come on, how's this going to happen? And well, we all know who that turned out to be, and the numbers that he's put up since then. Pretty good pick by the Mariners.
Well, and that's another obviously, absolutely it was. Some people thought he might go to Miami. There's no way that was going to happen. But it does bring up an interesting topic: the race drafting a high school player versus a college player now, and there's always been that discussion about the philosophy that a team might take, and it might change from year to year. There's always a feeling that you could get a high school talent, get them into your system, develop them the way you want to develop them, and maybe you take a pick there more on tools with a higher ceiling sometimes, and teams would roll the dice on that. Other times they would pick a college player. They've had a chance to evaluate them a little bit more over the 2 or 3, 4 year period, and know that they're probably closer to getting to the big leagues.
And you know what? I think that really in any era, especially nowadays with the social media and everything that's going on, if you're going to take a high-profile high school pick, a first-round high school kid, you had better be sure of his character, his emotional, mental, physical maturity, because you're going to get a lot of money, you're going to go off on your own, and you may be a month removed from high school. And so you better know that kid is going to be able to handle all of that is going to come his way. And so that's where it becomes a little riskier, and why these guys spend so much time getting to know these guys. You heard the assessment of the Rays, first pick. And the fact that they're talking about how mature, and you know the family, you know what the kid's all about, and so therefore you trust him enough to take him in that high position.
3-2 to Freeze. Carnes came in with a 3-1 curveball to go 3-2, and there's a breaking ball. It's popped into shallow right. That's going to fall in there. The run is going to score, and Freeze is on his way to second, arriving ahead of the throw. Ball loose, and Freeze will head to third. So the Angels get another run and another base as the throw in got away from Cabrera, and Freeze advances to third on the miscue.
Boy, a curveball that stayed up out over the plate. David Freeze not recognizing initially where this ball went, just kind of gorfed it down the right field line. It falls in. That's going to drive the run in, and then the throw by Nick Franklin. I wonder if that ball hit David Freeze and ricocheted away from Asdrubal Cabrera. There was a slide as that ball was coming in, and so maybe it hit Freeze.
Boy, it's been a frustrating night for the Rays. Carnes,
there you
see
go.
There, it hit him right there. It's going to be an error charged to Franklin, and the second error of the night charged to the Rays. Frustrating for the Rays defensively, frustrating for Carnes. He had Calhoun up there 3-2 and threw him a good curveball to strike him out. Now he was down 3-1 to Freeze, threw him a curveball to get to 3-2, tried the curveball again, and it was one that just stayed up there, and he dropped it into shallow right inside the right field line. Goes as a double, and now he's at third on the error.
Yeah, listen, it wasn't Nathan Carnes' best curveball, but the bottom line was it was poor contact. It was a little bloop that is absolutely perfectly placed, and then leads to an error, which now you got a runner at third with less than 2.
And Joyce fouls it back 2-2, so a challenge here because there are a lot of things happening that could really frustrate you if you allow it to happen. We saw it in the first inning. We're seeing it again in the third. There's a strike call. Joyce looked at the curve and is out on strikes.
Same curveball that he got Cole Calhoun on. Same exact pitch.
So 2 outs. Now it's Carlos Perez. A strike to him. Perez reached on the error in the first inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Carnes has had to get a couple extra outs so far tonight in the early part of this game.
Oh, look
out. Foul ball into the seats up the right side.
It's put him at almost 20 pitches per. And for a guy who, you know, he is of the mindset he wants to be able to pitch deeper and deeper and deeper into games. When you get these high pitch counts early on, that doesn't help your cause.
Fly ball into left. That'll send De Jesus back to his right a few steps. Side retired. They pick up a run, and we go to the bottom of the third. Now 3-0 Angels.
Normally, when a guy goes on the disabled list, that's not good news. But today, there was some good news for Jake Odorizzi, guys. He finds out his oblique strain is the mild to moderate version, as he was checked out by Dr. Coco Eaton. The roster move is Andrew Bellotti gets called up from AAA Durham. Really never had a chance to go to the Durham Bulls. We can see what happened with Odorizzi in his last start in Seattle. Felt it a little bit on that 4th pitch on the walk, and then the very next batter, first pitch, really felt the tug on the left side. Very much different than the Alex Cobb injury, which kept Cobb out 6 weeks. Cobb did not throw a simulated game after that oblique injury in Cincinnati until almost 4 weeks later. Odorizzi is hoping to throw by the end of this week in some form, so that's good news, guys.
Yeah, that's great news, and you know, you never want to get carried away. Anytime you mention oblique, the idea is that it's going to be perhaps a prolonged situation. In fact, that's one of the reasons when he wanted to take another toss, they said, no, you're not going to make another pitch just to see how it feels or how you are until they get him out of there and get him checked over. And so, as Todd reports, that initial news is good, and you hope that that continues to be the case, that it's mild to moderate, and that he can get back within 2 or 3 weeks. Elmore drives this one into right, short of the track, and Calhoun makes the catch for the out. So the Rays in a situation where they're going to have to cover some innings again in that rotation. Boy, they've been doing that all year, right from the very first day of the season.
And that's why it's so important that Jake Odorizzi get back as soon as he can, and why that news is so good, because he's a big part of how the Rays run their bullpen. Because when you look at the 5-man rotation, how it lays itself out, right now Jake Odorizzi and Chris Archer are your two big guns that you try to get deep into games, and then use the bullpen a little bit more judiciously in those games, and then the other 3 games you're going to use them a little bit more. But with Jake Odorizzi being out, that is going to further complicate things. So we'll see how they do it. But you're right, that bullpen is going to be on call.
It's been amazing as it stands now, a third of the way through the year essentially, and they have the best earned run average in the league at 324, and they've had to mix and match to cover all of those innings, and they've still managed to get the job done. And while the offense has shown that it's going to be a struggle to score runs, they've still gone 31-27, and they're 13th in the league in runs scored, 10th in the league in on-base percentage. They're hitting .231 with men in scoring position and .239 overall. So that's such a tribute to what they've done with this pitching. And they have also caught the ball. They've made a couple mistakes here tonight, as will happen from time to time, but they've done a great job of catching the ball. And that helps your pitching, because it doesn't further tax your pitchers with elevated pitch counts and more innings than you'd like from the staff in general. Franklin is out on strikes. So 2 gone here. And on that topic, the T-Mobile Game Changers, Chris Archer, American League Player of the Week. And from these numbers, he could actually be the American League Player of the last week and a half, going 2-0 in 3 starts with a 0.39 earned run average. Just any of those categories, pick them, and they're unbelievable. No 0 walks.
Well, the command has been impeccable. That number speaks for itself. But I think the big thing for Chris Archer, why he's taken that step, is the usage. He's still basically a 2-pitch pitcher. You know, he'll sprinkle the changeup in, but I mean, he'll sprinkle it in. He's still fastball slider. The difference is he now will use the slider in any count. He'll use it 3-1. How many times on the last couple of starts have we seen him go 3-1 slider, 3-2 slider, goodbye? I mean, got so much confidence in the pitch, and the way that he's using it now has allowed him to be completely unpredictable, using mainly just 2 pitches.
Yeah, because you very seldom see a guy with 2 pitches be successful at all, but to the level he's been successful, unless you have 2 pitches that are essentially interchangeable.
Well, and the first guy that comes to mind, you got the chance to watch it up close and personal, was Randy Johnson. Fastball slider in his prime. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. And that's the way that Archer's throwing the ball right now.
It's been fun to watch from our perspective, but it's also been fun to hear from other teams that he's pitched against and their reaction to all that. Rivera is out on strikes. 9 up, 9 down for the Rays. They trail by 3. Lead the Rays. Fans, it's time to vote for your Rays All-Stars. Vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star ballot at RaysBaseball.com. Voting exclusively online, available on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Vote early and vote often, up to 35 times. Help select the starting lineups for the 2015 All-Star Game. Vote at RaysBaseball.com now. On to the fourth.
Very demanding.
To vote 35 times, just the act of voting 35 times can be demanding.
I just love how you. Well, hey, speaking of that, I saw something today where they released the new results for Major League, and right now, the All-Star Game, if the voting ended today, would be the National League All-Stars against the Kansas City Royals. They have 7 starters right now after the vote.
Isn't that ironic that they're going to go play in Cincinnati, the All-Star Game, and right now it would be all Kansas City Royals. And there was a time, a little tap down to first, and Franklin makes the play unassisted for the first out. There was a time when fans picked the All-Star Game, and then they essentially took it away from the fans because the Cincinnati fans loaded up and voted all the Reds on the team.
Yeah.
And in the last few years, it's back to the fans, which is a great thing. You love to see that. Now all the Kansas City Royals appear to be going to the All-Star Game, and they would do it, ironically, in Cincinnati.
I mean, you wonder what the blowback would be if you did. You run out your whole team, it's nothing but Royals. You know, I mean, and by the way, they're increasing their lead. It was after the first round of balloting that was released, it was 5 starters. Now it's up to 7. Interesting.
Shot back to center field. Kiermaier's there. You know, it's amazing what happens in a community, and it's really fun. You've seen that Kansas City community. Well, you play there, you love it. It's a great city. It's a great underrated city in a lot of ways. And they struggled through a lot of frustration with that club, and now they've got a good team. They've supported it. There's a whole feel there in that entire community generated by the success of the Kansas City Royals.
How about this? They are averaging 11,400 and some odd more fans per game this year than a year ago. I mean, an 11.5 per game more.
Yeah.
They're going to, they keep pace. They're going to shatter their franchise record for attendance.
Yeah.
And apparently they're all voting 35 times. A lot.
Yeah, they might be voting 36 or 37 times. There's a lot to drive into center. A 2-out base hit for Ibar. He's now 2 for 3. I just think it's a great phenomenon what's happened over there, and happens in a market where fans start to really pull together and enjoy and have a sense of community. You know, it's, without getting too far into that, it is great to see an area develop that sense of community around something that's happened, and that's what's going on in Kansas City.
Yeah, just absolutely blowing up. Now, that team reminds you a lot, too, of the Rays as far as, young guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Accessible, interact well with the community, play a high-energy brand of baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Minnesota's still hanging around.
How about the Twins? Strike the count on Mike Trout. Fly ball to right. Souza Jr. is there, and he makes the catch. Man left on. We go to the bottom of the 4th. It's 3-0 Angels. I've got to tell you, we were on a long road trip, West Coast included.
Yep.
10 games, all that time away. Emily Austin was on a longer road trip, and she's back now. She went to Alaska.
I'm back in civilization.
Way to go. And you're here to raise up.
I definitely am. It's time to raise up. I'm with a bunch of campers from Camp Hopataki. The guys are, am I saying it right? Do you want to say it for me?
It's Camp Hopataki.
Camp Hopataki. All these campers are here. They're 5 to 17. They survived a burn injury, and they are just having so much fun. It's a free camp financially supported by fundraising Tampa General Hospital Foundation and Tampa Firefighters Local 754. So thank you to all of them. All the counselors are from Tampa General Hospital and firefighters that volunteer. So a great camp, and can't beat coming out to a Rays game tonight versus the Angels, guys.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome back. 2-0 the count to Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier, Butler, and DeJesus for the Rays. High pop, left side. Ibar angling out from short. That's not going to be an easy play, and he still made it. So Ibar takes care of that pop off the bat of Kevin Kiermaier. There are those youngsters out there enjoying a night at the ballpark.
Can't beat it.
A good time.
Can't beat it.
Raise up. There's Joey Butler. Tap right back to the mound. And the underhanded toss, boy. Matt Shoemaker has not given the Rays a thing so far. 11 up and 11 down. He's in charge. Now David DeJesus. DeJesus, the first of 4 strikeouts for Shoemaker, the first time through the lineup. That split that Shoemaker has really accelerated his progress. He'd been in their minor league system a while and had a couple years of being a pretty big innings guy. But that split developed for him, really came along. And there's a base hit into right. The Rays off the breaking pitch get their first hit and their first base runner tonight.
Well, Dwayne, when you talk about Matt Shoemaker and his development as a pitcher, what that pitch did was finally give him a pitch that gives him a sudden change of plane. You know, like even this breaking ball right here, kind of rolling in there. He needs to put it in good spots. That was not a good spot. David DeJesus capitalized. But the split, it comes in thighs, knees, ends up at the ankles, and it happens quickly. So that change of plane type of pitch is going to be a big help for anybody.
So the Rays get their initial base runner. Here is Logan Forsythe. Upstairs, a ball, no strikes. Logan hit the ball on a line his first time. Lined out to Mike Trout in center field. There's a strike. That fastball's not overpowering. He tries to place it well.
And you can see not a lot of movement either. You know, not a lot of sink. He is, by very definition, a fly ball pitcher. You know, he's given up 13 home runs this season already. So you're going to get some good swings off of him.
A fly ball into center field. Trout puts it away, and the Rays get a hit, leave a man. We're going to go to the 5th. It's 3-0 Los Angeles. with the Angels leading the Rays 3-0. Albert Pujols will lead off. It's Pujols, Calhoun, and then Freese, with Nathan Carnes on the mound. Carnes 70 pitches through the front 4.
And this is an important inning. Angels already have a 3-run lead. You're going to cut right through the heart of the order. Pujols, Calhoun, and Freese, like you said, this is their 3rd at bat against Nathan Carnes.
And breaking ball for strike 1 to start Pujols. Speaking of Freese, who'll hit 3rd, scoring change. He was initially given a hit in the 1st. They changed that to an error on Nick Franklin at 1st. Fly ball deep to right. Souza goes to the wall. It's gone. Pujols hits one out of here to the opposite field. Almost a glancing blow, and it gets out of here.
You know, if you're going to describe this, you say he flipped it over the wall the other way. We've been talking about his bat speed. This is not a bad pitch here by Nathan Carnes. Down and away, and he's going to stay down and through it and drive it like that? Are you kidding me?
Well, that's his 16th home run. You can see the reaction of Carnes. He says, wow, I don't believe that.
I'm with you.
The location of that pitch. Wow.
Kneecap high, outer 3rd.
There's a high fly ball by Calhoun to left. That's caught by DeJesus. So Pujols with an opposite field home run on a breaking ball down and away. And with that, he catches Mickey Mantle. 536 home runs for Mantle. And now 536 for Pujols. A pop-up right side. Franklin in foul territory handles that. And David Freese is out. So 2 quick outs here following the home run.
I mean, Albert Pujols is reverse aging backwards, whatever you want to say. But his power and bat speed right now is what you remember from him a few years ago.
There you are. He's caught Mantle. Matt Joyce. Pitch upstairs. It's fouled back. Well, I think the reaction of Carnes that we caught when he was mouthing wow, that says it all right there. He can't believe that ball went out.
And I think that the reaction up here, same thing. I mean, you saw the pitch coming in. Okay, like I said, you're on the outer 3rd of the plate and you're knee high, and so a guy wants to swing at that. Okay, now he's got some power, and he certainly has foul line to foul line type of power, but on a pitch that's elevated. That was not elevated. So to go down like he did, down and away, and drive that ball the other way, or maybe outer half instead of outer 3rd.
You know, that's a ball that drops into the seats of Yankee Stadium, maybe down the line at Fenway. You know, on that location.
Yeah.
Maybe. This is not a friendly ballpark for home runs. And the ball carries here when there's a big crowd and it heats up. Well, not exactly have that tonight again. So it was surprising. Base hit the other way for Joyce against the shift. All the way down to the corner, and Matt's on his way to second with a double.
And guess what? It wasn't in the first row either. It wasn't a wall scraper. There's a few rows up with ease. And Matt Joyce, you talk about some open territory to hit a baseball.
The Rays gave him all of that, and he Sent it right up the line into the corner. So Joyce has 11 doubles. Curveball didn't break much, stayed up. 1-0. Foul back, and it's 1-1. One now here to Perez. He lines it into left. One hop charge by DeJesus. They're going to stop Joyce at third. And it's first and third with 2 outs. That'll be the first hit of the night for Perez, on for the second time.
Well, a breaking ball. David DeJesus, a nice job of getting that ball in quickly to the cutoff man. So there's options on that play. But Nathan Carnes, you got to come up with a pitch here.
You know, that's the other thing about having a veteran guy like DeJesus in the outfield.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to hit the cutoff man. Now you have options. You don't hit him, everybody's scrambling. You have no options, and you're not sure what's going to happen.
How many times have we seen it?
Yeah, too often.
Some of the younger outfielders that have good arms, that show them off, that are looking to make a play. You love the fact they're looking to make a play, but you got to be smart.
If you're a young outfielder, wouldn't you spend all the time you could until DeJesus said, look, I'm tired of having you around, once you go sit somewhere else? But if you're a young outfielder and you got a guy like David DeJesus on your team, or a young hitter for that matter.
And this is another, David DeJesus, remember, started out as a center fielder. So he's moved around out there, has a pretty good idea how to play all 3 of the outfield positions.
Yeah, he ought to be running people off. Just go, I'm tired of you sitting here and asking me questions and talking to me. Kirk Neuenhuis.
Which, knowing what we know about David DeJesus, he would never do that.
No, he'd be talking back to them, and they go, oh, wait, we talked enough.
They would, yeah, right. We're done with you. We get it.
We're at the top of the 5th tonight. Carnes trying to get the final out in the inning. Strike at the knees, 1-1. Neuenhuis came over after the Mets let him go. Into the dirt. Blocked by Rivera. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Boy, big block there too, with a runner on third base, and not a very easy one. And Rene Rivera out to talk a little bit here with Nathan Carnes as they try, between Jim Hickey and Rene Rivera, nurse him through this inning. Said it was going to be a big inning for him. 3rd time through the lineup, through the middle of the order, already down by 3. Well, you're not expecting the fastball to be thrown that far in front of the plate.
Upstairs, 3-1. Angels came in having lost 3 in New York against the Yankees to start a 6-game trip east. That's fouled out of play. Perez was on the move on that 3-1. Now the count is full. So the Angels in with a season high 5 straight losses. And They start the night a game under 500, but they've taken a 4-0 lead in this game. And the breaking ball down to first. Nieuwenhuis is out on strikes, and that'll retire the side. They get 1 run on the opposite field home run by Albert Pujols, and it is 4-0 Angels. Inning 5, tonight's great moment in Rays history, presented by Geico, and it was on this day, 2008, Evan Longoria, then Willie Ibar, and then Leonard Navarro hitting back-to-back home runs for the Rays. Marked the first time in franchise history that feat was accomplished. The Rays on their way to 97 wins in 2008. Steven Souza Jr. takes the first pitch low. 1-0. Rays have had just one base runner off Matt Shoemaker. That was the 2-out single by DeJesus in the 4th. Two and 1 to count. Ground ball toward the hold. It's short. Picked by Ibar. Throw to first and grabbed over there by Pujols to retire Souza Jr.
You know what? Eric Ibar knew he didn't have a lot of time, and he goes to the one hop on purpose. And I love when you see infielders do that. Instead of trying to airmail this throw, he's just going to get it. All right, just let me get it close. Throw it low and let it bounce right up there. Nice for Albert Pujols. Well played there on both ends.
You know, Ibar's not a high-profile guy, but, boy, he's a really good player for the Angels.
Yeah, we were impressed with him. You know, just some of the plays that he made out in Anaheim. You're right, very underrated, understated. But rarely do you see him make defensive miscues, too.
1-0 the count to Asdrubal Cabrera. 1-1 to count. Vinny Romero is up in the Rays bullpen. 5 innings for Carnes. And he's at 89 pitches. Ground ball by the mound, but right there again, Ibar positioned on the first base side at second. And Cabrera is the second out.
Third baseman, Jake Elmore.
I think that may be the most impressive play in all of them for Eric Ibar, because typically with our track record recently, when we've been touting somebody defensively, it doesn't go well right after that.
Yeah, we put the curse on him and he's lived right through it.
He's able to make that play.
Jake Elmore. Pitch is in there for a strike. One and one. Slider missed. Hey, Matt Moore pitching for Charlotte in Dunedin. Pitched 4 innings. Made 64 pitches tonight. There's a second slider that misses, taken by Elmore. It's 2-1. 4 innings for Moore, 3 hits, no runs. He walked 1 and struck out 4 in 64 pitches. So another step in the right direction. 2-2. The count to Elmore. Jammed him and a bounder out to Ibar. Wrong guy. 3 up, 3 down, 3 assists in the inning for Eric Ibar. 4-0 Los Angeles. Is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By H.H. Gregg. Top brands, low prices, fast delivery. Gregg's got it. And by Florida Department of Transportation. Reminds you to drive sober or get pulled over. From the Trop tonight, we go to inning number 6, and Johnny Giovatello leads off for the Angels. Goes after the first one and lifts a high fly into left. DeJesus will handle that. 1 away. Two runs in the first. One of those earned for the Angels. Another run in the 3rd inning and another run in the 5th. So it's 4-0. Rays have been limited to just 1 hit. Eric Ibar takes a strike. One and one. So the Rays allowing 4 runs. And a strike call 1 and 2 coming into this game. They had allowed either 0, 1, or 2 runs in half of their games this year.
Amazing. It really is amazing.
And strike 3 call. High bar looking at a fastball. So 2 gone. And that's the opening game of the series and the homestand. Don't miss tomorrow's Wednesday night showdown presented by Mazda. The Rays again meet the Angels. We'll be with you at 6:30 right here on Sun Sports. Erasmo Ramirez will take his 4-2 record to the mound against right-hander Jared Weaver, who is 4-5. Mike Trout looks at a strike. One and one.
And that matchup tomorrow is going to be interesting to watch from the fact that, you know, the Angels have tried to split their right-handers up. You talk about Shoemaker and Jared Weaver, both finesse type of righties. You know, it's something that they were able to do earlier in the season when they set their rotation, and then they were able to split up C.J. Wilson and Hector Santiago, because you get too many similar looks back to back. It doesn't bode well for the guy pitching the second game. Usually, you know, sometimes you know, I know that's something that the Angels struggled with early in the year, and that's why when you know, you had Shoemaker coming off of his last start May the 31st. Well, now he gets dropped back into the rotation, 1 game in front of Jared Weaver.
Yeah, instead of 1 game behind, so they're exactly where they were before.
Maybe they figure the veteran Weaver can handle it.
Well, there might be some wisdom to that. You know, if they're trying to do that, and pitchers would prefer not to go back to back with 2 similar type guys.
No question about it. I mean, in a perfect world, you'd have C.J. Wilson, Shoemaker, Santiago, Weaver, left, right. You know, you want to split those similar styles up, because you're right. The guy going second, especially when it's the, you know, if it's in between series, that's one thing. But with the same team, you prefer not to be that second guy.
Trout gets this one through the middle.
First baseman, Albert Pujols.
So a 2-out base hit puts Trout aboard.
Look at that pitch, that plate coverage by Mike Trout. That ball a few inches off and down, and still able to reach out and get it into the outfield.
And here again is Albert Pujols. Out third to first, and then a double in the third, and a home run to the opposite field in the 5th. This one is foul the other way, out of play. Strike 1. Yellowwood bringing the lumber, and Pujols bringing that and more, especially lately. This opposite field home run. He now has 8 home runs since the 28th of May, and 4 of those against the Rays.
And one of them against Chris Archer, and we know how good he's been. In fact, I think that's the only earned run that Chris Archer's given up in his last 3 starts, was that home run.
Mike Trout aboard at first.
You run at your own risk against the Rays, especially recently.
Yeah, Rivera has really settled in and pretty much put a stop to the opposing running game, cutting down 11 of the last 19 trying to run with him back there. Ball, 2 strikes, that one out of play. He's opening this series. 2 more games left against the Los Angeles Angels. The White Sox will also be in on this homestand. We'll look at that club. And then the Washington Nationals come in. There's off the pitch, off the plate, a fastball outside.
And that White Sox team comes in completely made over from a year ago, thinking that they were going to be right in the thick of that race in the American League Central. Has not happened quite yet, but you never know. A lot of teams in that division have come back down to earth.
Yeah, they're in last place right now, 6.5 back. Kansas City, Minnesota had a great run, and they won a game, lost a game for about the last week and a half.
Kansas City and Detroit, they started out like 11-2, 12-2, whatever it was. And since then, Detroit's played 6-7 games under 500. Kansas City's played 500 baseball. The Twins have made a move. And that division has definitely bunched up a little bit. 6.5 games out was about 3rd place after the first month of the season.
3-2. Runner goes, and there is ball 4. Pujols on base, pushing Trout up to second. Calhoun is due, and here comes Kevin Cash. There goes Carnes, and a pitching change. With a couple of runs, Cole Calhoun's double scored Eric Ibar, and the 2-out error on the ball hit the third by Carlos Perez allowed another run to score. David Freese lifting a double off a breaking ball in the third scored Albert Pujols, and then Pujols hit the home run, his 16th of the year in the 5th inning, an opposite field home run on a curveball down and away as he catches Mickey Mantle for 16th place on the all-time home run list. Henny Romero, the new pitcher, his first pitch to Cole Calhoun, base hit into left. Trout's going to try to score and will. The throw cut off. And now it's 5-0. That run charged to Carnes. Calhoun wasted little time and went after the first pitch.
And what does that make him 2 for 3 tonight with runners in scoring position? We talked early on. He's been great in those situations, and he wastes no time here. Fastball up middle. He's got room to maneuver on the left side, gets it out to DeJesus, and good luck trying to throw out Trout, who had a full head of steam.
There's David Freese. The pitch is upstairs. Carnes made 106 pitches in 5 2/3 tonight. 1-1. Two and one. Romero was recalled Saturday when Andrew Bellotti was technically sent to Durham. And now with the injury to Odorizzi, Bellotti has been reinstated to the 25-man roster. So Romero is on in relief tonight.
And the one thing that those two pitchers do is they give the Rays some length coming out of the bullpen, can eat up multiple innings, and that's going to help with the workload that you expect them to get.
Runners go, and it's a chopper out to second. Forsythe makes the play. A run scores. Bottom of the sixth inning coming. 5-0 Angels. Junior with 11 home runs on the year. Tonight's game and all season long. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Starting to get a little late here. Bottom of the sixth. Rays so far off Matt Shoemaker, the 28-year-old right-hander out of Trenton, Michigan. And they have exactly one hit through 5, one base runner. And now Nick Franklin. Pitch is a strike. Franklin, Rivera, and then Kiermaier. Ball and a strike. Franklin struck out swinging. That was in the third when Shoemaker struck out 2. He has 4 on the night. And he's ahead of Franklin, a ball and 2 strikes.
Working quickly, throwing quality strikes. The Rays have not hit too many balls hard. He's been very quiet, going about his work, and very effective.
Fly ball the other way. That is out number 1. Well, Matt Shoemaker has had things pretty much his way tonight.
You know, we said early on that this is a guy that's going to rely on changing speeds and moving the ball around the strike zone, and he's done just that, taken the sting out of the swings of the Rays. Not, like I said, not a lot of hard-hit balls. He's mixed in a couple of strikeouts, balls off the end of the bat, jam shot, soft fly balls. That's the name of his game when he's going right, and he is going right tonight.
Here's a pitch to Rivera. That's headed for the corner. He's going to one-hop the low wall. Rene Rivera going after that first pitch fastball. And the Rays, for the first time, have a man as far as second base tonight.
But perfect timing after we just get done tying up how great he's been. Rene Rivera not going to waste any time. Fastball, that one stays out over the middle, doesn't quite get it to the outside part. And he gives the Rays a shot.
You might want to talk him up some more.
Well, I was going to say, we just keep talking how great he is. Get the Rays here in a little comeback action.
Kevin Kiermaier looking for his first hit. Is a strike. Kiermaier with 4 home runs on the year. It's it on the ground left side into left field. It'll be first and third. Rivera had to stop at third base. Neuenhuis coming in to charge that base hit. Rays with a little something going maybe.
Now find a hole. You saw that ball sinking away from Kevin Kiermaier, and instead of trying to do too much and pull and try to get around that baseball, he just takes it the other way. Big opening.
Well, Joey Butler's up here. He's been swinging a good bat. I tell you, one swing makes it a completely different game. Butler came in hitting .330, .324 right now with 4 home runs. Quick throw over to first. Kiermaier diving back safely.
Well, and a pitcher on the mound prone to the long ball.
He'd given up 13 home runs in just under 57 innings. He'd walked only 14, almost as many home runs as walks. But he is always around the plate. Fly ball, left center field. That ball's going to be in there, extra bases. Rays will get 2. Rivera scores. Kiermaier heads to the plate. And just like that, it's a 5-2 game on a double by Joey Butler. Now the Rays do make some noise in the 6th.
Well, this is how it happened the last time Nathan Karns started against the Angels. Rays had a 4-0 deficit and struck quickly in the 6th inning for 5 runs in that game. And I'll tell you what, these 2 runs have scored relatively quickly, and Joey Butler's still out there at second base. Get things going.
And David DeJesus, who has the other hit, he had the only hit through 5 innings off Shoemaker. So DeJesus up here now. 2 for 5 in his career against the Angels right-hander. He goes after the first one, lets the fly ball into left. Neuenhuis toward the line makes the catch. So he's taking care of both putouts in the inning. And it will be up to Logan Forsythe. He's 0 for 2. He hit the ball hard on a line to center his first time.
Well, he's been a guy that's had a very solid approach for the Rays all season long. And so in this situation, you feel good about your chances. Stay inside the baseball. This is the 3rd time you've seen him here tonight.
Too close. Butler at second, driving in 2 runs. Forsythe trying to pick him up. Butler's now hit in 9 of his last 10 games. Two and 0. Fernando Salas busy down the left field line for the Angels. Chopper foul that lodges right in front of the Angels dugout. How about that?
He got a leader, right?
That's the decision so far.
You could stand at home plate for the rest of your life with a fungo and not do that.
Tom Foley might be able to do
Maybe.
that.
Maybe.
That'll take the count to 2-2.
I was thinking more along the lines of you and I.
Oh, well, yeah. It'd be hard to hit a ball anywhere on the field, I know for me. Yeah, that was determined long ago. Two here on Forsythe. And a foul ball. Did he tip it? He's out on strikes. And that will retire the side, but the Rays are on the board with 2. 5-2 Los Angeles. And here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. The pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Erasmo Ramirez will make the start for the Rays. We'll hear from him. And tomorrow, being Wednesday, means one thing. It's another Webb Wednesday. Matt Joyce opens the 7th. One strike. Joyce has walked and doubled. Now facing the left-handed delivery of Romero. It's 1-1. Romero made 25 starts last year at Durham. Ground ball and right there for it, Forsythe. Rays with the shift, and Joyce is the first out.
Well, Enny Romero, he's one of those pitchers that we talk about, these young kids with great arms, and it's all about consistency and command. And if he's able to harness the stuff, it's electric. There's no question about it. That's the challenge now.
A bit wide to Carlos Perez. 1-0. One. Well, if you can show the arm, you'll get an opportunity to put it all together. And a nice pitch there to get ahead of Perez. 1-2.
You know, the feeling is, you can be taught command. I can teach you, there are drills. I can't teach you 95 to 97. That's something you have, God-given ability. Your mechanics, everything falls into line, and you're able to throw a baseball that hard. Well, now I got something to work with, and maybe it's going to take some work, but you've got a tool that is not teachable.
Chops this one foul. So it's still a ball, 2 strikes. Developing those pitches and developing command. I mean, we've seen the 95, the 96. There's a 98, a little wide. Take a look at this.
Yeah, really good pitch here by Enny Romero. I think it's even closer than Fox Tracks gives it credit for.
This one is foul. See the pitch speed, that 97 topping out on our reading. So Romero and Perez with a little battle going. Toward the line and right, Souza Jr. there reaching up and makes the catch. 2 gone. So the bases are empty. Romero came on, gave up the base hit to Calhoun. That drove in a run. And then Freese grounded out. Now 2 up, 2 down in the 7th. Ball, no strikes. Well, if you've got a lefty out there who's 95, 96, 97, you'll give him a little time.
You'll give him as much time as he can still throw 95, 96, or 97.
Exactly right.
You keep working with him.
Yep. Takes the count to 1-2.
I like his rhythm here tonight. Working quickly, throwing a lot more strikes. Really?
Come on.
I mean, what are you looking for? Boy, good fastball down in the zone, and it looked to be right there. It's going to be away from Rivera, but over the plate.
Look at that.
And look where the setup is.
Yep.
He's right over top of it. Dana DeMuth has a great look at that pitch.
The one thing about DeMuth, he's a pretty patient guy back there. Might favor the hitters a little bit, but there are times when he will not give you that call down. And that last pitch was, or the time pitch before was a great pitch. And now there's a foul ball. So we're going to go for another 3-2.
I love all these arbitrary, well, he'll give you that, he won't give it. A strike is a strike.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Should be.
But I won't give you that one. I'll give you this one. And if he's not going to give him that one, you're right. Then he's not going to give that pitch because he's standing right over top of it, looking right down on it. You couldn't have thrown that better for his perspective, and still he says, nope.
Well, a strikeout, cut the miss. Took a couple extra pitches, but he strikes him out. 1, 2, 3. The Angels down in order for the first time since the second. Sousa Jr. leads it off. 5-2. To Fox and Fox Sports 1 for the first time as the greatest golfers in the world converge on the Pacific Northwest for a chance to stamp their names in the history books. Our exclusive coverage of the 115th U.S. Open Championship live from Chambers Bay Golf Course begins June 18th on Fox Sports 1, Fox, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Speaking of Go, into the bottom of the 7th we go. A ball, no strikes, the count on Steven Sousa Jr. See a new third baseman there. Taylor Featherston in the game. 1-1. It's a 5-2 contest. The Rays finally got on the board. A couple of runs on 3 hits in the 6th off Shoemaker. Until that time, they had exactly 1 hit, and that had been the only base runner. 1-2 on Sousa. Sousa retired in the 5th on a very good play by the shortstop Eric Ibar. Sousa swings and he misses. Missed the split.
That's been a really good pitch here tonight for Shoemaker. We've seen it a couple of times where he's thrown it for a called strike, but more times than not, he's going to try to take it from the bottom of the zone to out of the zone. And this is what he does here. 2 strikes. He starts it at the knees. It ends up in the dirt. Then he picks up another swing and a miss, another strikeout.
Cabrera back over the mound, backhanded. Ibar's throw. They do not get him. Boy, that was a great effort by Ibar again. It's going to be a base hit for Cabrera.
Well, he was saved by the fact that that ball rolled up over the mound and gave him a nice hop to work with. And now as he tries to complete it, that throw just kind of flutters enough to allow Cabrera to beat it out. Tough to get anything on those types of throws when your momentum is taking you out to left field and you're trying to get some strength into a throw all the way back to first base.
Here's Jake Elmore with a runner at first, 1 out. 80 pitches for Shoemaker. One ball, no strikes. Two and nothing. Rays trying to chip away here in the seventh. There's ball three. Well, the Rays in that outing on the third. Last Wednesday got behind 4-0. Had a 5-run inning to take a 5-4 lead, only to see the Angels tie it in the ninth 5-5, and the Rays go ahead again in the 10th and win it 6-5. And that's ball four. Well, 2 men on, and the Rays will get the potential tying run to the plate. That comes on the first walk of the night, given up by Shoemaker. And Mike Socha is going to head to the mound. We'll be back with a new pitcher. He leaves with 2 on. To this point has been charged with 2 runs in 6 1/3, allowing 5 hits and a walk and 6 strikeouts.
Well, the Rays able to force him out of the game. They bring on Fernando Salas, but for the Rays, a game that has been completely one-sided all night, they're now getting the tying run to the plate just that quickly.
Well, this is what you battle for when you fall behind. Put yourself up there with the potential tying run at the plate. Nick Franklin hitting left-handed against Salas. He takes ball 1. Franklin, 1 of 28 as a right-handed hitter this year that hit a home run. The count goes to 1-1. Cabrera's the runner at second. Elmore at first. Single and a walk with 1 out. 1-1 to count on Nick Franklin. Two balls and a strike. Now 3 balls and a strike. Angels get some more action going in their bullpen. Now we go to 3-2. Missed the fastball. Three-2 the count. And a cut and a miss. A fastball at 90 got him. So Franklin strikes out.
I'll tell you, Nick Franklin got 3 fastballs out over the plate in the 90-91 mile an hour range and just not able to come up. He's got that uppercut swing, and that ball beats him over the top of the bat in all 3 swings.
Well, with 2 gone and 2 men on, Evan Longoria, who's been favoring a balky left wrist, will come off the bench to pinch hit here, representing the potential tying run.
Mike Butcher coming out to talk to Fernando Salas. I like the drama here. It's nice to go to your bench and bring up a guy like Evan Longoria in this situation and let him take a rip.
Well, that's exactly what the Rays are going to do. They've clawed their way back to within striking distance now with a tying run, the potential tying run at the plate. Butcher completes his conference on the mound with the Angels battery. And here comes Longoria. Both bullpens now busy. Joe Smith, a righty, and Jose Alvarez, a lefty, up for the Angels. And the Rays get Brad Boxberger up. And Longoria stepping in to pinch hit. He takes a big cut, and he misses strike 1. He was trying to tie it up on the very first pitch.
Well, Fernando Salas has been able to get these 90-mile-an-hour fastballs and get them right by the swings of Rays hitters thus far.
And a cut and a miss. Takes it to 0-2.
Invisible.
Popped up right side, foul. That's going to carry out of play. It's a funny game, isn't it?
He had 5 straight 90-mile-an-hour fastballs out over the heart of the plate that were swung through. At least, listen, adjustment made by Evan Longoria. He fouled one off. Now, catch one clean and tie this thing up.
The 0-2 pitch again. A ball, 2 strikes. Cabrera singled. Elmore walked. All of that with 1 out. Salas came on to strike out Nick Franklin. He's ahead of the pinch hitter Longoria. Upstairs, 2-2. Salas has had everything up so far. That last pitch, a slider up. Now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a swing and a foul tip strikeout on the fastball up. Rays leave 2. Get a hit and a walk and leave them both. Here's the strikeout. We go to the 8th. 5-2. Play underway in the 8th. Andy Romero still out there on the hill, and his first pitch is a strike. A fastball to start Johnny Giovatello. One and one. Jake Elmore moves over from third to first base. Franklin out of the game. Longoria stays on to play third. Bobby Wilson does the catching. Two and one. Giovatello, the number 9 hitter. He'll be followed by Eric Ibar and then Mike Trout. Line drive into right, and Souza goes back to make the catch. One away in the 8th. Tonight's game summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Swords. Angels broke out with 2 in the first, got a run in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th, and a run in the 6th before the Rays got on the board. Albert Pujols catching Mickey Mantle in career home runs with a solo shot in the 5th, and Joey Butler driving in both runs for the Rays. Eric Ibar takes a strike. Up the middle, sharply hit, and Ibar's aboard with his 3rd hit tonight. He's 3 for 5. Well, he's had a great game. He's played outstanding afield and has 3 hits on the offensive side.
Yeah, leading the way. This is a desperate team. They dropped that game 2 of the series against the Rays, lost game 3, of course, and then go to New York and get swept. So that losing streak, 5 games in a row, and we've talked about the Texas Rangers playing much better baseball, moving up in the standings. That division starting to tighten up.
And the Rangers started the day 3 back of Houston. And with this 5-game tailspin, the Angels now 5 back, running 3rd. That's a strike. 1 and 1. Trout with a run scored. when he singled with 2 outs in the 6th, and that led to a run. 1-2. Shoemaker started, worked 6 1/3. Salah's got 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Joe Smith is up now in the bullpen. Big cut and a foul ball back by Trout. Mid-90s fastball.
Well, you think about what Romero could be capable of if you can harness that command, that being able to throw quality strikes where you want to. You think about that fastball that stays pretty true up in the zone when he wants it up in the zone. And move the break.
Which he might right now.
Well, especially against this guy.
Yep.
You'd love to get that up around the letters and see if he'll take a rip at it. Got the count in your favor.
And it was up, but off the plate at 96, 97. Well, 14 of his pitches 95 plus. And that's the big upside in any Romero. Ducking back in Ibar. Yankees have a 5-1 lead at home over Washington. The game's in the top of the 8th. Stephen Drew hit his 8th home run of the year, and Bryce Harper number 20. Ibar returns to first. With that one at 97, and it's full. The count.
A little bit of late movement is going to take this pitch off the plate, just subtly sliding off. Trout able to hold up.
Full count. Ground ball through the hole. Big turn at second. Ibar decides to put on the brakes. 2 men on with 1 out. And Albert Pujols, tonight's high def highlight presented by H.H. Gregg. He took a pitch down and away from Carnes and hit it out the other way.
And the more that you watch it, it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Not a bad pitch at all by Nathan Carnes. Not for that result. Didn't deserve that.
Pujols takes it down and in. So he's been on base 3 times with a double, a home run, and a walk. Foul out of play, and it's 1-1. In that Washington New York Yankee game, Tanaka worked 7, gave up the home run to Harper, and that was about it. 2-1 now. Yankees scored 4 in the bottom of the 7th inning to break a 1-1 tie. That's a strike. And it's 2-2. O's look back wondering about that.
Well, it started off the plate Manny Romero takes it right to the corner, maybe just off. Gets the call.
A little tapper third base. Longoria cannot come up with it cleanly, and the bases are going to be loaded. Pujols gets a scratch infield hit.
No, and you're not expecting that from Albert Pujols, but that pitch that was called previously on him, I think, is what causes this swing. A ball that was down and off the plate, and a chopper slowly hit up the third base line as he chases this pitch. Yeah, that's not the contact you're expecting. So Evan has got a charge from a long way back, and as he goes to get that ball in position to throw, it squirts loose.
Base is loaded with only one out, and it's Calhoun. Fouling the first pitch for a strike. All 5 runs charged to Carnes. Romero inherited a couple runners when he came in and allowed one of them to score. Thus charged to Carnes. 5 runs, 4 earned. Bases loaded behind Romero now, and the 0-1 pitch to Calhoun. Ground ball through the right side, a base hit. Ibar scores. Trout's going to head to the plate. 2 more score. Calhoun picking up his 3rd and 4th runs batted into the night, and the Angels will make it a 7-2 ball game.
He just continues to get the job done with runners in scoring position. I mean, this is the 3rd hit tonight in that situation. Finds a hole on the right side. This is going to give the Angels those 2 extra runs. Big base hit there by Cole Calhoun.
Well, that brings up Taylor Featherston, who took over at 3rd in the top half of the inning. Swings and misses. Line drive into left, and that's going to be in there. DeJesus cuts it off. Pujols scores. Into 3rd goes Calhoun. A double for Featherston, and the Angels breaking it open with a 3-run 8th, and now it's 8-2.
And here's the breaking ball here by Manny Romero, and that pitch, you know, more times than not stays on about the same plane, almost acts like more of a cutter than it is a slider, and that allows Featherston to get the hands through the zone. He pops the ball into left field, and the Angels continue to score.
Matt Joyce looks at a strike. A 3-run 8th. Two balls and a strike to count to Joyce. 2 men in scoring position. Two now. Upstairs. And just like that, the count is full. And that is strike 3 call. Joyce Out on strikes. Thought it might have been up. So here is Carlos Perez. A ball, no strikes. Back into the screen. Well, the Rays made a run. They had a couple men on in the bottom of the 7th in what was a 3-run game at that point. But the Angels have come back to put up 3 in the 8th.
They have taken firm control of this game at 8-2.
Fly ball, center field. Kiermaier makes the catch. 8 men come to the plate. They score 3, leave 2. It's 8-2 Los Angeles.
Coming up in our Rays Live postgame show presented by Checkers, I'll host alongside Orestes Estrada. Thoughts from Dwayne and B.A. on this one. Kevin Cash with his press conference. Emily Austin gathers interviews from the Rays clubhouse. That'll all be coming up on Rays Live presented by Checkers. We'll also update you on Matt Moore, who had a nice outing tonight. His second rehab start with the Charlotte Stone Crabs. 4 shutout innings, 3 hits, 1 walk. Matty hoping to come back in late June, early July. How about the guy in relief, guys, tonight, too, for the Charlotte Stone Crabs? Taylor Guerreri, former #1 pick in 2011, went 3 shutout innings, struck out 7, allowed 1 hit. And we will have some of those details post-game. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, a couple of guys showing what you can do coming back from Tommy John. Jose Alvarez, the lefty, pitcher number 3. Well, the Angels tonight making his 20th appearance.
Pretty good numbers there for Alvarez, too. Almost a strikeout an inning.
Brandon Geyer pinch hits for Kiermaier to lead off. The pitch is a strike.
Well, the goal for the Rays offense at this point, get Joe Smith and or Houston Street into the game.
Yep.
And see what happens.
Popped into short center. Trout there. 1 out in the 8th. They did have Joe Smith up earlier, but they've opened a wide lead, so the Rays are going to have to get busy to see him up. One out in the 8th. Here's Joey Butler, who drove in both the runs for the Rays in the 6th inning. That's a strike. Pitch started wide and cut to the plate. Just missed with that one. 1-1. It's a 2-1 count now. Three balls and a strike. Well, that takes the count all the way out. And a cut and a miss on the fastball. It's the 9th strikeout for Angels pitching. And Mikey Montauk will pinch hit now for DeJesus.
I'll tell you, it's been one of those nights. I mean, this night feels like a team that's come off a long road trip from the West Coast. And it's interesting because they play so well on the road. We saw that in the last trip, 7-3 trip, 6 games over 500 for the year on the road, but yet 2 games under at Tropicana Field, which is not a fun place for visiting teams to play.
Yeah, it should be advantage Rays here because it's an adjustment for visiting teams to come in. And there's a strike. 0-2. Had a no-hitter thrown tonight. Chris Heston, who was born in Palm Bay, Florida, went to East Carolina, has no-hit the New York Mets in New York. And a swing and a miss. Montauk out on strikes. We're through 8. It's 8-2 Los Angeles. Tomorrow's Wednesday night showdown presented by Mazda. The Rays again take on the Angels. We begin at 6:30 right here on Sun Sports. Pitching change for the Rays. Steve Geltz on the hill now. He follows Carnes and Romero. 25th appearance for Geltz. The Rays have some defensive changes as well. A little different look in the outfield. That's Mikey Mautuk in center field. And over in left, Brandon Geyer. Neuenhuis leads off the ninth. The pitch is fouled out of play for a strike. Eight runs, 15 hits tonight for the Angels, and a bouncer to the right side by Forsythe. He throws out Neuenhuis for out number one. Now Johnny Villavitella hitting second here in the ninth. Villavitella with 4 fly balls in this game tonight. Bounces it right back on a fastball from Geltz for a strike.
A very underrated player. Talked about him earlier in the game and what he brings to this team. Solid defense, scrappy hitter at the bottom of the order.
Yeah, we talked about him being, that leadoff man in the ninth inning, and he has led off 3 innings tonight. Elmore at first and foul ground after this one.
And on the bright side, no hits. Well, it's been a game that the Angel offense as a whole has kept the pressure on Rays pitching all night long. You mentioned the 15 hits, a bunch of different innings where they've had multiple base runners, been able to score some runs. Well, it's tough when a team keeps the pressure on like that. They have one inning where they score a few runs, okay, but when it's constant trouble, constant pitching out of the stretch, it takes its toll.
And there's a strike to Ibar. Well, Pujols has been a big part of the offense. Trout, no RBIs, but a couple hits and 2 runs scored. Pujols with a double, a home run, a single, and a walk. They got 4 runs batted in from Cole Calhoun tonight. That's a career high for him. Freeze with a run batted in. Featherston with a run batted in. Another run scored on an error. Chopped to the right side. Forsythe handles this one. A 1-2-3 ninth. Bottom of the ninth coming. 8-2 the score. Sports is brought to you by Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Bottom of the ninth inning coming up here. Let's check in with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, you mentioned it last half inning. We had a little history tonight, at least for this young right-hander, as Chris Heston, a 27-year-old rookie, pitches a no-hitter tonight in New York. Heston goes 9 innings, strikes out 11. You got Ruben Tejada for the final out. This is the second day of the Major League Draft. It's always interesting to look back at stories of kids getting drafted. Heston was at Seminole Community College, drafted by the Twins in 07, 47th round, didn't sign. Drafted by the Nationals in 08, 29th round, does not sign. Goes to East Carolina and drafted by the Giants in the 12th round in 09, did sign, and in his rookie season pitches a no-hitter, guys.
Well, a big night. They got that no-hitter, closed it out with that 11th strikeout.
That was a beautiful line.
He didn't walk anybody. He hit 3 batters.
Send a message. Stay off my plate tonight. Nothing wrong with that.
1-1 the count to Logan Forsythe. He's facing Cam Bedrosian. Yeah, that's adding insult to injury. No hitter lineup, hit 3 of them, strikeout 11. Last out to strikeout.
Looking.
Yeah. Base hit up the middle. So Forsythe picks up a single to open the ninth. Yeah, that's one of those no-hitters in youth baseball where the pitcher is about 40 pounds bigger than everybody else. You hit 3 guys, strike out 11, throw a no-hitter.
Yeah, that is really a rough night offensively for the Mets. Got guys banged up.
Battered and no hit.
By a rookie.
Steven Souza Jr. fouls it out of play.
Well, the wonderful thing about baseball is you get to come back the next day and try to get them back. And barring a complete turnaround here by the Rays tonight, they'll have to look forward to tomorrow.
Yep. Check swing, a little hopper back toward the mound. Forsythe was headed to second anyway, and Souza is out at first. 1 away. I like your optimism. You're always like that.
That's all you got right now.
Looking forward to tomorrow.
Looking forward to tomorrow. Good Lord willing.
Now as Asdrubal Cabrera. He had an infield hit in the 7th. Victimized a couple times by the shift tonight. And the pitch is a strike. How common has that been over the last couple of years? Victimized by the shift. A lot of hitters fall into that category.
You know, you'd love to see a study done, and I'm sure the numbers are out there somewhere, but it's almost as if, you know, a lot of guys will hit into the teeth of the shift, and they'll pull a ball to second base and the guy makes the play out in right field. Those may have been ground balls to second base anyway, but it's those hard hit balls up the middle that are either right at the second baseman or shortstop that, yeah, those just, I mean, those add up and those are frustrating. You have an up the middle approach, you hit a ball hard, you hit a line drive, 1 hopper up the middle, and there is the shortstop playing directly behind second base or the second baseman, whoever it may be, and going to make that play, and that's frustrating, extremely.
Cabrera fouls it back.
But that, you know what? That's the new reality. That is the new reality.
More than ever, every year. Forsythe on at second base. Fastball is fouled back. Rays have committed 3 errors tonight, and that's going to be a season high for them. Cam Bedrosian delivers, and that pitch in the dirt. Did he go? He checked. And the count is full. Talking about the increased number of shifts, and more as we take a look to see if he checked. He did. A little over 13,000 shifts in the major leagues last year, 8,200 the year before, and just under 4,600 the year before that. So in the last 3 years, 4,500, 8,200, and 13,300. Forsythe on second with 1 out. That's too low. The Rays have a couple base runners here in the ninth. That's Jake Elmore up there with 2 on. Well, Houston Street is on the bullpen mound right now. So let's see if the Rays can get him to actually start warming up. Pitch to Elmore is a strike, a fastball. Street stretching it out there on the mound.
And you know that Mike Scioscia is not going to take any chances. This team's dropped 5 in a row. He'll have a quick trigger here if Bedrosian doesn't figure it out.
0-2. And a line drive to second, and the flip back will double up Forsythe and end this game. Little broken bat liner to second, turned into a 4-6 double play. And so this game is over, and it goes to the Angels 8-2. And the Angels snap their 5-game losing streak. They get back to 500. And the Rays are now 31-28. And there's that little liner out to second. And the resulting double play. So it's 8-15-0 with 11 men left for Los Angeles. And for the Rays tonight, 2 runs, 6 hits, 3 runs, and they leave 5. Shoemaker evens his record at 4-4. Carnes with an even record at 3-3. And we'll be with you tomorrow for the second game of this series. Our coverage begins at 6:30 on Sun Sports. For Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome.